You're watching CW Montana. This is the MTN 9 o'clock news.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us on your Thursday. I'm Jeanelle Slade. Across Montana tonight, a Flathead Valley fast food chain pitches in to make Christmas a little easier for two families dealing with tragedies this holiday season. Plus, the Montana Tech Lab training people on how to prevent on-the-job accidents. We'll have that story and details in just a bit. But first, two more people facing charges tonight after Tuesday's triple murder in Great Falls. Amanda Gilbreth, an acquaintance of the shooting suspect, is now charged with obstructing justice. At first, Gilbreth denied she saw Ricky Gardapi in the days leading up to the murders, but now she admits to police that Gardapi was at her home the day before the shooting. Another man, Johnny Comiotis, is charged with tampering with physical evidence and resisting arrest. Police allege he was confrontational with officers as they searched his apartment, and he tried to use force to avoid being handcuffed. Now, Tuesday morning's triple murder occurred at the Emerald City Casino in Great Falls. A fourth victim is recovering in a Great Falls hospital after he was shot point blank in the back of the head. Now, a fundraiser post says that Timothy Edwards moved just in time for the bullet to go through his face instead of his brain. Well, tonight, the Lewis and Clark County Sheriff's Office is asking for the public's help to find a man who may be in danger. Philip Pites has not been seen since December 2nd. Authorities say he normally lives in his truck in a Walmart Burger King parking lot in Helena. However, his truck was found crashed near a ranch north of the city, the same ranch where another vehicle was reported stolen. Now, due to the length of time that Pites has been missing, he is considered endangered. He was last seen wearing a blue jacket with a fur hood. If you have any information, contact the Lewis and Clark County Sheriff's Office. A Bozeman man who stabbed and killed his father back in 2017 is sentenced to a half a century in prison. In October, 37-year-old Tanner Franks pleaded guilty to mitigated deliberate homicide in the death of William Franks. The judge sentenced Tanner Franks today to 40 years for the murder charge and another 10 years for the use of a weapon. Franks originally denied killing his father. Today, Franks' aunt and brother took the stand to address him directly.
I don't know why you can't take accountability or responsibility or admit it. I don't know why. I don't know why you have to rationalize that in your mind. And you can't say you're sorry, you haven't said sorry once.
Now, the judge ordered none of Frank's time in prison be suspended, but did give him credit for 756 days already served. A Livingston man who led law enforcement on a chase over the Bozeman Pass and fired shots at officers will spend 13 years in federal prison. 37-year-old Chauncey Cole was charged with drug trafficking crimes, including possession of methamphetamine. Back in July of 2018, Cole sped away from a Park County Sheriff's deputy after giving the officer a false name. Now, during the ensuing chase, Cole fired a gun from his driver's side window. He was able to elude officers overnight, but was arrested the following day. And a moose poaching incident near Butte has caught the eye and the pocketbook of a Mining City sportsman's group. The group now offering up a reward to help find the culprit. Fish, Wildlife and Park says this bull moose was shot in the Camp Creek area east of Melrose sometime between November 15th and 22nd. Wardens are asking for help from anyone who may have been in the area at that time. Fish, Wildlife and Parks offers a $1,000 reward for tips that lead to arrests in poaching cases. But now Skyline Sportsman Association is pitching in an extra $500 to potentially drum up some leads. Now, the confidential tip line number is 1-800-TIP-MONT. Montana's only U.S. House Representative Republican Greg Gianforte joined an overwhelming majority in favor of the U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade agreement. The newly fashioned trade agreement passed the House on a 385-41 vote and now heads to the Senate. It's a big win for President Trump, and House Democrats like the deal too, with its stricter labor and environmental enforcement mechanisms. Gianforte told MTN News he worked to get provisions in the bill that will help Montana agriculture. For example, under current law, grain exported to Canada is classified as low-priced feed quality, regardless of its value. Well, Gianforte says the deal means Montana grain sent to Canada will be graded on its actual quality. Well, Montana Senator John Tester's bill on rural broadband mapping passed the Senate today by unanimous consent. Tester tells MTN News that the bill will result in more high-speed internet service for rural Montana. Up till now, the Federal Communication Commission has relied on data from broadband providers, but Tester says often that information turns out to be inaccurate and actually prevents the funding of broadband in underserved areas. Well, under his bill, consumers and independent groups will help provide that mapping information. The broadband bill faces one more vote in the House before becoming law. 3 people died in Montana in 2018 from on-the-job falls. Now that makes it the 3rd most common cause of on-the-job deaths across our state. MTN's Chet Lehman recently visited a lab on Montana Tech's campus in Butte where they are training people to help prevent those accidents from happening.
According to the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA, more than 700 people each year die from falls on the job, and as many as 140 of them from ladders. This lab on the Montana Tech campus in Butte is working to lower those numbers by training people to train workers in fall prevention. Many teach safety. Not very many, however, teach this.
We're the only ones that have the emphasis on ladders, safety, and fall protection, and so that makes us unique.
So getting that hands-on experience of how to educate, how to use the equipment safely, and learning it in real time is what I think separates our students from other students in similar programs.
Make no mistake, there is still a classroom aspect of this program, but having this lab and these tools available helps Montana Tech students prepare for the real world in a much better way.
Where we start with our engineering controls, then we move through our administrative controls, and finally personal protective equipment. So sometimes we even have to teach our students that putting a hard hat on somebody may not be the best solution, that there's other solutions.
The old saying goes, it's as easy as falling off a ladder. Turns out, the hard part is learning how not to.
Putting on a harness is much more challenging than reading about it. And getting it adjusted right is really challenging. And then we have them climb ladders with a harness and fall protection all connected, so they can get a kind of a double learning that way.
In Butte, Chet Lehman, MTN News.
Thanks, Chet. And Montana Tech offers a bachelor's degree in occupational safety and health. Well, one of Missoula's oldest churches is preparing for its final Christmas Eve service. River Valley Church, founded as Emmanuel Baptist Church in 1890, will have new owners as of December 30th. Pastor David Lodwig says upkeep, age, and location began to take its toll on the congregation of just about 100 people. The historic downtown building sold for more than $1 million, but the building itself will remain intact.
When you see old buildings like this that have been used by generations and generations of people, you begin to understand the weight of what came before you. There's a legacy here. Even as a church, we're looking at the proceeds of the sale and understand that it's not just a lump amount of money that we're getting, it represents a long history and all of the people that came before us. So there's a lot of weight that comes with this transition.
Well, no word yet on what business will open in the space, but the buyers are allowing River Valley to use part of the building rent-free for the next 6 months. Well, today all Flathead Valley Subway restaurants will donate 15% of their proceeds to 2 local families. 17-year-old Chance Holstrom was killed in early September after a motorcycle accident in Kalispell. Holmstrom left behind a 7-month-old son and a younger sister. And 6-year-old Jordan Hubble was struck by a vehicle in November after a driver failed to yield for a school bus stop sign. Hubble remains in a coma in critical condition. The proceeds from Chance Holstrom will help take care of baby Grayson, while the money for the Hubble family will go towards her care. Flathead Valley Subway owner Stephen Toohey says this is a way to give back this holiday season. Coming up on your statewide 9 o'clock news, a story of survival. 3 people forced to spend the night in frigid Montana temperatures, but they lived to tell their story. But first, how's the weather looking, Bob?
Well, Jeanelle, it looks like most of eastern Montana will continue to enjoy warmer temperatures, partly cloudy skies, and just dry conditions all the way around. But out in the western part of the state, it's another massive winter storm moving in. We'll have more about that coming up after the break.